Diddy's situation right now looks far from stable as a flood of videos has suddenly surfaced online. While he has reportedly sold his iconic matte black private jet and even stopped showing off items he once proudly posted on Instagram and TikTok, which makes many feel this could be the start of a serious collapse. There's a clear reason this story has grabbed so much attention because what's circulating includes chaotic party footage, uncomfortable karaoke moments that raised eyebrows, leaked audio clips sparking non-stop discussion, and much more. Yet, the situation goes well beyond viral clips. To understand why all this matters, you have to look at what came before. As Hayes currently being held at Fort Dix Prison following events that began in March 2024 when federal agents searched his homes in Miami and Los Angeles. A scenario that sounds unreal on its own, things only intensified as multiple lawsuits were filed against him, something many people still overlook. And if he had been found guilty of the most serious charges, the Southern District of New York could have seized everything he owned, including his properties, vehicles, and cash. That possibility explains why selling assets now appears logical, since fighting numerous legal cases requires enormous financial resources and legal teams are extremely expensive. With that background in mind, the recordings making the rounds take on a much heavier meaning, as some of them are genuinely disturbing and help paint a clearer picture of the position he's in right now, setting the stage for everything that follows.
That Diddy's downfall means for the music industry and for men like him. Do you think this will help create some type of change?
We haven't seen a downfall yet. We're just saying
the trial was very public and the details were pretty disturbing.
They weren't disturbing enough to get a few stupid people in a jury to understand it. So, wasn't that effective? Wasn't that much of a downfall?
She compared Diddy's trial to being locked away. But what really caught my attention was her belief that it doesn't come anywhere close to the justice the victims deserve, not even a tiny fraction of it. She went on to say that the system still works to shield many people. And she wasn't only referring to Diddy, but also to others accused of far worse actions, which matters because it shows the situation is bigger than one person and points to deeper problems that affect the entire system. Something that's honestly unsettling. That's why the next part, though uncomfortable for some, can't be ignored, especially after a viral video raised a serious question by calling out several well-known blackmail artists alongside Diddy, including Chris Brown, Biggie, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Tupac, and asking whether people will continue to support artists who harm black women. The video also emphasized an important truth: consent is not permanent and people are allowed to change their minds even after initially agreeing, leaving us all with a question worth thinking about now that this documentary is public. What will Weeds actually do differently? Will fans keep buying music and attending shows, or will there finally be accountability? This isn't about telling anyone what choices to make, but it is a conversation that needs to happen, especially when so many choose to look the other way, making the problem worse. Adding another layer to this, there have been claims that Diddy's staff hasn't been paid since his incarceration. Something his spokesperson strongly denied by saying everyone was still receiving checks and no one had quit, yet people close to the situation say the opposite, claiming workers have been leaving due to missed payments. Reports suggest that TriStar Sports and Entertainment is managing his finances while he's behind bars, operating under strict approval rules that can delay payments, which doesn't just affect employees, but also his family, including his mother, Janice Combs, and his children, who are said to be facing financial strain. It's a stark reminder of how quickly life can change, going from private jets and endless spending to suddenly being unable to access your own money. And while it's hard to feel much sympathy given everything that's come out, it does show just how fast everything can unravel. According to reporting from the New York Post, investigators were able to identify the dates of Diddy's so-called parties by reviewing videos tied to 2004 and 2005 VMA after-parties and Super Bowl weekends. And what those recordings allegedly show raised serious concerns. One gathering after the 2005 VMAs reportedly began like a typical celebrity event with well-known figures such as Paris Hilton, Quincy Jones, Eva Longoria, and Ice-T present. But the mood is said to have changed after those guests left. At that point, the outlet claims the scene shifted dramatically with unfamiliar young adults appearing in revealing conditions and signs of illegal substance use being visible. The footage was reportedly verified by matching what Diddy was wearing that night, including a white t-shirt with the phrase, "God is the greatest," printed in black, to the same shirt seen earlier at the after-party. There is also video connected to Super Bowl weekend in February 2005 when a large celebration hosted by Diddy included famous names like Ashton Kutcher, Ashley Simpson, and Joe Francis, and later moved to a rented home costing an estimated $20,000 per week. In one clip from that night, laughter fills the room as two men are seen together, and the angle suggests Diddy himself may have been filming and involved in the moment. A source linked to federal law enforcement said the content in these videos lines up with information authorities already had. And now their focus is on a critical issue that remains unresolved, determining whether everyone involved was their boys or if something far more serious was taking place.
There already have been tape leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood, but one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of, and to contact the person who was in the video to see if they were interested in purchasing the video before it became a public knowledge.
I've heard this before, so like a catch and kill.
Catch and kill.
She said she watched the video herself, and what made it even more shocking was her claim that the other person in the footage is even more famous than Diddy. She stressed that it wasn't an isolated clip either, explaining that more recordings are reportedly being passed around in Hollywood and that the people in them are clearly recognizable. That's where the idea of blackmail comes in, when someone pressures a public figure by saying they'll release damaging footage unless they're, but a practice often referred to as catch and kill. And it seems some celebrities may be facing that exact situation right now. Just imagine being well known and getting a call from someone claiming they have a video of you doing something you never wanted the world to see, which would be terrifying for anyone. Still, there's also the blunt reality that if no rules were broken to begin with, that kind of fear wouldn't exist. Adding to the discomfort, a karaoke clip featuring Diddy and Meek Mill has reportedly leaked. And many viewers say it's awkward to watch, especially when Meek Mill makes comments that immediately change the mood. You can even see the surprise on Diddy's face as he turns around, clearly caught off guard. A moment that reminded many people of the alleged audio recording that circulated last year and sparked so much conversation.
Audio recording that circulated last year and sparked so much conversation.
Recording of Meek and Diddy making love? Yeah, I don't know if it was love. Yeah, okay, you have it. Let's hear it.
Do you remember the viral recording of Meek Mill and Diddy? Indeed. That was the outcome of a 70-page complaint filed by producer Rodney Jones, Little Rod Ishi's nickname. The allegation named a redacted Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. The footnotes described Pepperson's true identity, even if the name was blacked out. A rapper from Philadelphia who dated Nicki. Meek Mill was instantly recognized by all. The lawsuit claims that both of them acted inappropriately. After it was made public, people's opinions of Meek Mill shifted. Even his song Dreams and Nightmares. I sounds different when you give it some thought. Put simply, look, I'm not sure whether any of this is true, but seeing a legal document that describes such things makes you wonder. TMZ was able to secure fresh footage of Diddy imprisoned in Fort Dick. Do you know what's odd? He seems truly happy.
Videos of Diddy in prison at Fort Dix. I mean, how do they keep getting this stuff? And how much are they paying these other inmates to send them videos of Diddy? This is wild. Apparently Diddy was working. Diddy helps give movies and religious materials to other inmates.
Some think he's just putting up a brave front because the cameras are there. Some people think he might know things we don't. Perhaps he has a contract or something. I'm not certain. It is certainly peculiar though. You have to watch this. In this old footage of him during an award presentation, Diddy just told us everything.
Take your souls. We have the power. We decide what's hot. If we don't go, nobody goes. If we don't support, nobody supports. We control what's cool. We control what's hot. We control what your kids listen to, what they dance to. We control what's in video games. We control how they wear their pants, sag their pants. We control everything.
No one appeared to be paying attention, even though he seemed to be telling you everything that was going on behind the scenes. It's a little scary when you think about it. How much control did these people really have? And what were they doing with that control? There's a video of Diddy with some of his well-known friends. I promise that the vibrations have stopped. It's odd nonverbal communication. The mood in the room is unnerving. Others are seeing things in the comments that I didn't notice at first. I won't tell you exactly what to look for because I want you to view it yourself and see what you see. But trust me, there's obviously a problem with this video.
For all those in London that don't know what happens to the white man when he comes to a P. Diddy party, this is what happens to the white man.
It's so unfortunate.
You gotta pull back though, so you can see. That's crazy. Matt, move out the way. You're still alive. Look at that. Look, put your drink on his head. And that's James from Simeon Mobile Disco. He is an actual DJ. He's not supposed to pass out, but when they come to one of my parties, this is what happens to him. I put him to sleep. Right? You put the drink on his head.
Diddy walks up to the camera and says, "For all those in London that don't know what happens to the white man when he comes to a P. Diddy party. This is what happens to the white man." He then points to a man who is lying motionless. As if it were funny, a drink is put on his head. The guy's name is James from Simeon Mobile Disco and he's an actual DJ. Diddy goes on. DJs aren't supposed to pass out, but when they come to one of my parties, this is what happens to him. I put him to sleep. Okay, this is me question. What does it mean to put him to sleep? Because that looks terrible when you take into account everything else we currently know. Imean, did he administer medicines to his individual? Why did he pass out like that? This video has a number of caution indicators. The fact that Diddy thought it was funny enough to record could tell you a lot about his mindset. This video with Ashton Kutcher is also being discussed.
Like we here to try to raise money for these mosquito bed nets. So if you don't understand, just imagine living in Africa and your little infant child just gets bit by a mosquito and he dies. We're the charity this year, and I'm glad to touch on my boy's charity. We're gonna do it every year with another charity. So thank y'all very much for coming. So let's party.
In the video, they are at a mosquito bednet charity event in Africa. Ashton says from Venice Beach. They thank Starbucks for sponsoring the event. Don't you think everything looks regular and healthy? But now that we know more about Diddy's parties, you see this movie in a different way. Was Ashton, for instance, aware of the actual circumstances, or did he merely stay for the charity part, leaving before things got weird? I don't want to accuse Ashton of anything because there is no proof that he was aware of the unfavorable information. It does, however, make you wonder who knew what and when.
People are open to hearing what has happened to me. People weren't ready to hear it 20 years ago. My name is Adria Cherie Marcy English, and I was hired in the early 2000s to be a go-go dancer at Diddy's private white parties. I looked up to Diddy. He was an icon. He was innovative. I had dreams and goals to be in the entertainment industry. And so when I got the opportunity to dance at the white parties, I really took it seriously the first time I met him. He was very nice, charismatic, he had a presence about him. I felt important. The fact that I kept getting invited back, it led me to believe that, I had special talent, special skill. They liked my energy. So it was a very great experience initially. After about the second or third party is when I got asked to do extra things more than dancing at the private white parties. It was more mingling more and being available if they wanted to participate in extras, I should say.
When you said that they started asking you to participate in extras, what do you mean?
He would bring me to people. Diddy would sit me with certain people and for me to entertain them. There were private areas and private rooms of the house that, I had to walk people to. And then, I was I believe drugged. We were drinking from certain champagne bottles where it was like your eyes were open, but you were blacked out. And whatever it is that was in those drinks, it made you a zombie. I was asked to perform sexual acts with his guests. It was kind of degrading, but because of the status of the people involved, it was kind of like, well, this is better than a regular person, a regular guy. This is someone who's rich and famous. And so I thought that was going to graduate me into being able to sign a record deal. It was like coercion of my heart. He knew how important it was to me. And so I believed it. I was very gullible, very naive, very trusting. And so I went along with a lot of it.
How many people do you think that you were asked to engage sexually with?
I would say probably over 20 between all the parties. I did hear that when they did the raid on the house, that the tapes that he found, that I may be on them. So it could be more. My lawsuit was filed under the Gender Motivated Violence Act. It's for coercion, it's for sex trafficking, it's for forced labor. No one believed me back then, and so I decided to just deal with it internally and self-medicate with alcohol. I do want to apologize to my family for bringing that, shame. I did it because deep down I wanted to be famous, and I believed that it was going to be a way for me to. Everybody's not lying. But if people could just say, what if people are telling the truth? What if they're telling the truth? That's scary. And it's a problem that needs to stop.
At first, everything seemed positive as she described Diddy as warm and supportive, making her feel valued through repeated invitations that convinced her she was finally getting a real opportunity in the entertainment world. But after attending a few gatherings, the tone shifted and her role changed from simply dancing to being asked to do much more, including keeping guests entertained and guiding them into private areas of the house. Then she shared something deeply alarming, explaining that although her eyes were open, she felt completely disconnected, saying she believes she was drugged after drinking from certain bottles, leaving her feeling awake but not fully aware of what was happening. She claimed she was encouraged to bantamate with guests and believed at the time that cooperating might help her career, even thinking it could lead to a record deal, admitting she was young, trusting, and unaware of the risks, according to her. Each event involved more than 20 people, and she fears she may appear in videos taken during the search of Diddy's home, which would mean even more individuals were involved. She later filed a lawsuit accusing coercion, forced labor, and trafficking, explaining that she turned to alcohol toko because no one took her seriously and she didn't want to bring shame to her family. Ending her interview with a powerful statement that people are not lying and that the truth itself is what's frightening. Her story leaves a lasting impact, showing how a dream can turn into something deeply traumatic, and she may not be the only one. This context also helps explain why Diddy sold his famous matte black private jet in October 2025. A move that makes sense given that high-profile legal trouble often makes assets hard to sell. Yet he managed to offload the 2015 Gulfstream G550, a luxury aircraft valued between $15 and $30 million, registered through his company Love Air LLC, likely to help cover mounting legal costs. If he had been convicted of more serious charges, authorities could have seized everything owned, from homes to cars to cash, so selling assets now appears strategic. Adding to the pressure, a new California law that took effect on January 1, 2026, known as the Justice for Survivors Act, gives victims a 2-year window to file cases, even if deadlines had already passed. And it allows lawsuits not just against individuals, but also against companies that may have enabled or ignored misconduct, such as record labels or management firms. This mirrors what happened in New York, where hundreds of cases followed a similar law, and it's likely causing serious concern across Hollywood. With all that in mind, the bigger question remains whether more well-known figures will be exposed. Because based on everything revealed so far, it seems increasingly clear that this story may involve far more than just one person.